Hello, folks. Today on Think Bowling, we're going to have Steve Kloempken, the Vice President of Marketing. He's going to talk to us a little bit about pin position and top weight and the relevance it has in today's marketplace with the new USPC rules, 3 ounces either direction. I'm in the bowling industry over 20 years now, and pin position and top weight was a big thing when 1 ounces in either direction was a thing with the USPC. And now today, when we return to the bowling environment, it will be 3 ounces in either direction, no weight hole. So, Steve, can you expand on the pin position and top weight and where Storm or you as a bowler stand on that view?
Yeah, Bill, you bet. Yeah, thanks for inviting me, and thanks for having me on. And that is one thing for sure. There's lots of discussion and ideas and thoughts, and this goes way back. I started drilling balls in the pro shop there at the Showboat and at Sam's Town in Las Vegas, and even back then, there were always people looking through boxes of balls, trying to find what they felt was, the ideal amount of top weight, or even what the ideal pin position was. And, back in those days, they actually, when we did have 2-piece bowling balls or balls with a weight block, we actually didn't even have a different color for the pin to indicate where that weight block was positioned inside of the ball.
Yeah.
So you actually had to, a lot of times you had to use like a wet towel or something on the surface of the ball to try and see if you could maybe identify sort of where it's at. And, working with some of the, the great minds in the PBA, like a Larry Lickstein or Bill Hall that worked in the truck there back in the day. That's kind of how I got some of my knowledge on that. And even kind of learning sort of what the pin is and what does it mean. Now, fast forwarding, 35 years or so now, when we look at the inside of a bowling ball, the one thing that I've found very fascinating, and we have all the information and testing and R&D that shows that it is a very insignificant difference between a ball, as far as ball motion goes, between a ball with maybe 2 and 2.5 ounces of top weight versus 3 versus 3.5. And when you're looking at the design of the ball, the interesting thing is that the densities of the actual weight block has gotten much heavier over the years. So these differences that you're talking about in the difference between 2 balls side by side with identical specs, except for, let's take top weight. And if you have one ball with 4 ounces of top weight and one ball with 3 ounces of top weight, that basically means, based on the specific dimensions and density of that particular weight block, that you may have the ball that has 4 ounces of top weight positioned approximately 2/64 or 1/32 of an inch closer to the surface of the bowling ball than the one that has 3 ounces. So a lot of times when you're talking about the difference in the movements of what you have to move or adjust that weight block inside of the bowling ball in order to get a different top weight or a different pin distance, for that matter. I know that was one of your other questions. But if you're looking at the difference in the amount of top weight, you're basically looking at how far does that hole go inside that bowling ball so that positions and holds that weight block in place inside of that lightweight core material. And we're talking, like I say, when I got in there talking about a 32nd, we're talking 64th. And that's usually when we talk about drill depths, we talking 64th of an inch. And that's how much the movements are. You're moving it, 3/64, 4/64, 5/64, 6/64, however much it is, just to get the proper depth. And it just basically moves that weight block either closer to or farther away from the surface of the ball. And that's how you get the different top weights. And again, when you're looking at dynamically, you're looking inside of that bowling ball, that's how minute the differences are between these different top weights.
A 64th is crazy to get from a 3 ounce top weight to a 4 ounce top weight ball. When you think about like how small a 64th is, and I've heard that over the years that it's so minute to get, 1 ounce top weight versus 4 ounces of the top weight. And to hear you say a 1/64th can equal up to 1 ounces of top, 1 ounce difference in top weight, just depending on the core, obviously, but that's huge.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And the other thing too is that when you're looking at these weight blocks and you're looking at the densities, we're talking about a 16-pound ball. So the one that would have the heaviest weight block that's in there would make the most difference. So maybe you're looking at a design of a ball in a 14 or 15 pounder. Maybe that's what weight you throw. and then you're looking at maybe it's not a real low RG ball, maybe it's something that's more of a medium RG, like maybe a high road, or something that's a design, maybe in that kind of performance category. You're going to find then that maybe the movement might be 3/64ths of an inch, or maybe even 4/64ths, which it would still only be a 16th of an inch. And like you say, if you're talking that minute, and you're looking at the differences that it would have in terms of RG and differential and flare potential, and that's really the differences that you're getting when you're looking at difference in performance. You can see that the amount of top weight, if you're hunting around for a ball that has a specific, down to a quarter of an ounce of top weight or so, thinking that that's going to make the difference, either make or break your performance. It just isn't. It really isn't. It's just one of the components to consider. And then the other question you would ask too regarding the pin distance, when we're looking at the pin distance, how far is that pin from the center of gravity? Instead of looking at where that pin is in terms of the amount of how deep we drill that hole to place that weight block inside the core mold, what we're looking at is how far do we shift it laterally in order to create a pin distance. And you are, again, similar to the numbers that we were talking as far as ounces and top weight. Inches in pin distance is also very similar as well. So we may shift it, say, 2/64th to the side, or 1/32nd of an inch, and that will often equal a difference in pin distance, center of gravity to the pin, of up to an inch. So when you're looking at the difference between a ball with 3-inch as far as a pin out versus a 2-inch versus a 4-inch, you're looking at, again, shifting it 1 or 2/64ths or 32nd of an inch, or 3/64ths or 4/64ths. You're looking these minute inches.
Yep.
And the difference is now that we don't have those constraints as far as saying that the bowling ball has to be statically legal, we're really just looking at the layout in terms of work to our positive access point. That's what really matters and what really counts, if you're looking at the actual dynamics in the inside of the bowling ball.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've felt that way for years, as far as the layout being the most important part of ball reaction. And, working in a pro shop for 20 plus years now, we have people that come in and swear that, they need 3 ounces. They need, 3/8 side weight and a quarter finger to get it helps me get the 10 out and stuff like that. And it's just, it's always been that question. I think that, it's an older theory, and I get it, because I grew up in that same era of, 3-piece pancake weight block times versus now with huge dynamic cores and different multi-densities and stuff like that. It's insignificant, as you said, is in relation to the layout of the ball.
Yeah, and really when it came around, I'll go back to what I was talking about, the times of the showboat in Las Vegas in the mid 80s. We were talking a lot of times, talking about whether we were drilling that ball with a certain kind of static weights. We were positioning that pancake inside of the ball in different positions across the surface, not knowing that really what we were doing was adjusting the layout by adjusting the statics, because we actually were taking and making that core being in a different position inside the bowling ball, and we also had a lot less total potential ball motion. So fast forward to the changes in the performance in the cover stock technology, and how much faster revving now these cores are, and the hook potential that we get out of the bowling ball. It's important just to know that the most important components of the bowling ball are going to relate to your layout, and then also, of course, your cover stock and surface prep at any time, much more so than being concerned about the distance of your center of gravity to the pin, or whether my ball has 4 ounces of top weight to start or 3 ounces.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to come out and discuss this with me, because I feel like it's very important to get that information out there, as far as pro shops and stuff, to help them educate other bowlers that are stuck in an old way of thinking, and trying to explain to them that it's not really important. It's more important to know that layout and that positive access point, for that bowler to lay it out properly and to get the best ball reactions.
Yeah, you got to know your PAP, and knowing that information is just critical to knowing your layout. So yeah, thanks, Bill, for having me on. I really appreciate you taking the time as well, and the interest in reaching out, and look forward to speaking with you again sometime down the road.
Okay. Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you for coming on, and stay safe during this crazy times.
You as well. Thanks, Bill.
All right. Goodbye. Okay, folks, that was Steve Kloempken discussing pin and top weight. Hopefully that helps clear up some misinformation that's out there. And we look forward to seeing you the next time. Be sure to like and follow us and stay safe out there. Thanks. Bye.